It don't matter how much it feel like it ain't gonna work.
Delusional.
Complete delusion. You gotta believe the delusion. Because it's only delusional until it works. So is it really delusional? A motherfucker only gonna call it delusion until it don't work for nobody else to see, but for the whole world to see. And then once the world see it, there's nothing delusional about it. Now your delusion becomes, oh, he was a genius. We didn't see it when he saw it. We didn't understand it when he did. We thought this motherfucker was crazy. But he definitely always figured this thing was the thing to do, and he stuck by that shit.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say to yourself, you got to mean this, like you got to be desperate. This is no game, this. My life is not everything I want it to be, and perhaps it's not everything that I need it to be. And by need, I mean my life is so unbearable that the suffering that's attendant upon that is make me nihilistic, cynical, bitter, prone to punish people for their virtues because of my jealousy, driving the proclivity to see evil everywhere except within my own heart. Like, these are problems, man. You ask yourself, you sit on the bed and say, okay, man, I'm ready to learn something. Like, what's one thing I'm doing wrong that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? It's like, you meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
Heroes and villains always have the same backstory, pain. The difference is what they choose to do about it. Villain says, the world hurt me, I'll hurt it back. The hero says, the world hurt me, I'm not going to let it hurt anybody else. Heroes use pain. Villains are used by it.
My biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say, I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big, long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. I see my name. I see all this shit, and God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be.
You see this guy here staring back at you?
Yeah?
That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
You like your current state enough that you like the pain of change thing. But like, you're not in enough pain. And I've said that to plenty of people. We go speak and someone's like, how do I get motivated? I'm like, you're not gonna get motivated. Like, you have to hate. For me, I automatically go there. I'm like, you have to hate something. Like, for me, I just hated my current existence. And so for me, that was powerful enough to get me out.
At some point, everything's gonna go south on you. Everything's gonna go south, and you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin. You do the math. You solve one problem, and you solve the next one.
The masculine youth have the worst life. I would argue that young men today have a worse life than even young women, and they have all of their own problems. I'm not saying their problems don't exist. But for the average young man today, women expect him to be a millionaire at 20, which he isn't. Nobody gives a shit about his opinion at all. He can kill himself, nobody cares. He isn't born with any innate value because he's not beautiful like a woman is. So he has to build himself from the ground up. He has no teachers in any way. No one really to teach him. There's people like us on the internet, fine, but everyone around him is going to convince him that we're bad people. Everything he's being told in regards to his natural feelings, his natural instincts and inclinations, he's being told makes him a bad person, makes him toxic for feeling like a man in any way. It's very hard to be a young man today, and they feel disenfranchised with the system. So they find solutions. The human mind looks for solutions. They start listening to me and they go, oh, I feel better if I do this. I feel better if I go to the gym. I feel better if I start to take responsibility and take accountability. And I feel better if I'm not afraid of pain anymore. I feel better if I'm not afraid of suffering. I feel better if I understand that I'm supposed to suffer. that that's what's going to make me the best person that I could possibly be, that my youth is supposed to be spent doing difficult things so that I have the light and the dark. They find me and they start to feel a certain way about it, and then they reject the matrix programming.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen in life. Mm-hmm. Your parents are going to pass away, loved ones are going to die, your relationships are going to break down, your body is going to fail you, you're going to become ill or sick or destitute. Things are going to happen that you have no control over. And the only way that you can prepare yourself for unchosen suffering is with chosen suffering.
Right.
You can elect to put yourself into a position to become a stronger alloy of whatever the metal is that you're made of. And by purposefully choosing difficult things, you will armor yourself against that situation. It's still going to suck. But think about how much more fragile you would be if you hadn't overcome all of this stuff.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life, because while you're probably up, there's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself.
Manifesting is real. When you figure out who you are and what you want to do, and you devote your life to it like a maniac, like you're all in on this thing, and you manifest, most of these people end up, doing what they say they're going to do and being who they say they're going to become. It's real. And there's no excuses. There's no days off. There's no, not willing to grind and, everybody's against me and this didn't happen for me because of this and that and all this whining and pussy ass bullshit that a lot of people do these days. These people who dive in and they're hardcore and they're focused and they know what they want. They know who they are, and they lay out these short-term goals and this roadmap on how to get there. Most of those people make it.
Life is a crazy roller coaster, especially this life, so we've ups, we've downs, but I find I'm at my best when I set out, when I say and when I must do something and I know I must do it and I do it, I execute it.
We're not men because we face the battle and we get immediately victory every time a battle comes up. We're men because we face the battle and we stay in the battle when we feel like we're losing and we feel like we're getting beat up. But we stay in there and we keep fighting and we plant our feet and we say, until death do I part, this is me and I will fight this battle, regardless of what the battle is.
I'm a big believer that you should only listen to somebody or take advice from people who have bigger dreams for your life than you do. And I think most people don't have bigger dreams for you, which just means that for me, their advice is invalid. I think that in the dark times that you will inevitably have in life, having someone who believes in you is just everything. It can be everything.
Hey, I know to win, I have to practice this, right? Because a lot of people get wrapped up in this dark energy and they get so consumed with it that they forget what it is that makes them great at what they do. So they forget their skill set. They forget they got to put in the reps. You have to delineate. I'm taking energy from here and I'm going to do this productive action over here because it's moving me forward. You can't just pout and scream and kick your fists and say it's not fucking fair, because guess what? It isn't fucking fair. It's never going to be fair. It's never been fair. And you screaming and throwing a tantrum about it is irrelevant. No one cares. The world doesn't care, God doesn't care, your family doesn't care. It's not fucking fair, motherfucker. Get that through your brain, okay? Now, take all of the negative shit, all the shit your parents said, all the shit your cousins said, all the shit your friends and family said, all the laughter, all the doubts, all the eye rolls, all the shit your girlfriend said, and start to remember that shit. Don't memory hole it in some place and forget about it and say, oh, my trauma. No, say, hey, fuck you for not believing me. Now I'm going to go out. I'm going to use this energy to become so big, so successful, so powerful, so undeniable that when I walk in the room, you look at the fucking floor. That's what you want to be.
Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, nah, God just hooked you right the up.
You gotta be willing to do the work. You can speak about it all day. The easiest thing in the world to do is to complain, blame, and quit and settle. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But it takes real work to deconstruct and to reconstruct the thought process and the mindset of an individual when they're trying to change something. That's why I always say to people, what's more important, what we acquire or who we become, right? What's more important, what we acquire or who we become? Materialistic, superficial, it's cool. But the people that we become, the thoughts we think, the words we speak, that's something that's gonna travel with us forever.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
And you're going to fail, 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 and then you're going to win. And that's life. Life without those challenges, it's just existence. Don't just exist. Go live. Eventually, inaction will cost you. Just get up, move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. Move towards that challenge and go attack it. And you may be successful and you may not be successful, but you will be better.
Don't let life stop you from living life. All that you feel, all that you're carrying, all that you've seen, all that you've heard, all that you've been exposed to, all of those experiences, they are all very, very real. You may not be telling people about them, but you're thinking about them, you're carrying it, you're processing, you're triggered by it. It's all still there. But do yourself a favor.
You're out running on the track, working out, and you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much.
Sounds like me.
Maybe I need to back off, man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right? That sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like that stuff's dangerous.
Yes.
And that's when you just got to say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself.
Yeah.
The deal was already made. The deal was made. When I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing, I signed that contract with myself. I'm doing it. Throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, maybe if we, nope. No, this is non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
What makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change.
Perfection does not exist. I do firmly stand on that and believe that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't exist, man. You should try your hardest to get things right. In moments where you got them wrong, figure out how to never get them wrong again. That's the world of compromise. That's the world of growth. That's the world of evolvement.
Everything worthwhile is uphill. And today's word is uphill. You see, every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it. It's uphill. If you've built a wonderful business, guess what? It was uphill. If you've made the right decisions, they're not easy, are they? It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea. If they're at the top of the mountain, they know how they got there because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is uphill.